Hi and welcome to, hey look at that, third video in under a week. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different to last time. It's going to be a quick DIY video. One of the problems I've had with the last two, and actually every video I've ever recorded, has been lighting. I live in a very old 300-year-old house with 4-foot thick walls and windowsills and window framing that is equally deep. The end problem with that is that it can be extremely difficult to get good lighting for anything, for a photo, for a video, even for reading sometimes. So, seeing as I had spent the vast majority of my creative budget for the next 3 years on a new camera, a new microphone, stuff for recording videos, I don't have an awful lot of money left for lighting equipment. The end result was that I went to my local DIY store and, well, you're going to see the results of that endeavour. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, what we have here is a switched lamp holder, $1.99 in Woodies. You can get them even in second-hand shops. 3-pin plug, or your local alternative, again $1.99, and you can get them second-hand in cheap shops. Basic cabling, it's 2-core, 0.5 millimeter, or 0.5 centimeter I should say. A metal mixing bowl, nice and shiny. Block of wood. You don't want to mark whatever you're working on. A set square and a fiber tip pen. These are from when I was in high school. They still work. Sharp knife. Hammer. Again, I've had this one forever and I bought it in a really cheap store. Some grinding bits and a Dremel multi-tool. And this of course is my glorious blue snowball. So what we're going to do with this is as follows. If you take your set square and you take your pen, you cut across anywhere on the flattened base. Like that, it's just about visible. Now what you do is measure that from rough, as close as accurately as you can, find the center of that line. In this case it's 4 centimeters, on this case it is 4.5 centimeters. And this is to find the center point of the bowl. Now what you do is pretty roughly mark out perpendicular to that line and the other line. And this will give you the center of your circle. And it doesn't have to be super accurate because, well, it doesn't need to be. So, what's next? Well, the next bit is a little bit finicky. And it's like this. Piece of wood stands up. This stands on piece of wood. Take nail, put it on the center, good hard whack with a hammer, and you can hold through the center. Bish bash bosh, the job's done. Now, it doesn't matter that that's going to damage the metal a little bit because you're going to be working the metal anyway. So take your lamp holder and take the top off of it, which is this part. And I went with these bayonet ones because I was lucky enough to find these, which are they're 100 watt equivalent energy efficient bulbs. They're basically 1300 lumens, which should be good enough. Now I'm going making 2 of these, one for a key and one for a fill light. But I'm only going to show myself making 1. The next job is, because you have that center point marked on the back, you can now put this down and make sure it's the end that goes here, the screw end. Find the rough center, stick your pen inside, and that is roughly what you need to cut out. Now here's the thing. It doesn't need to be super accurate. It doesn't, because with the way these bulbs work, what you're doing, I mean, you're shoving a pretty bog standard bulb that is going to shine light in every direction pretty evenly. And this isn't a professional setup. This is something you make up in a few minutes. So after this, you have two choices for the way you do this. You can cut it out with a hole saw if you have one. I don't. I had one, don't know where it went to. You can cut it out with a Dremel, which is going to take time. Or you can, once more, balance on your piece of wood and very carefully start making holes using the nail. Again, you don't need to worry about this being super accurate. It'll work, or you know, it's not going to do much damage, and it's going to take a little while, but you're going to get it done. Ooh, that one went in. So, as you can see, I'm gradually getting holes through it. So I'm going to cut now, and we'll get back when I have that hole gone around. And we're done. As you can see, I've now got basically a circular hole punched. Now, the next step of this is getting rid of the excess material. Now, you can do that with a fine-tipped snips if you have one strong enough. I don't. But if you're lucky and you're like me and you have one of these babies, well, your problems are not really problems. So I'm going to use basically a grinding tip, because there isn't an awful lot of material in between. And then I'm going to use a larger, flatter grinding tip to fix any distortion in the metal that would cut into wire or damage the lamp fitting or whatever. So again, I'm going to cut for this because it's extraordinarily loud, and I will catch you again once that hole is cut. And after about 10 minutes, this is what I got out, and this is the hole I have. All I did was, like I said, I used a nail, went the whole way around, but I stayed inside the line, and that's important because you want this to be smooth. Even if it's a little bit dimpled, you want it smoother so it's not going to damage anything. So I went all the way around inside the line, and then I used, well, a now shattered cut-off disc to cut almost the whole way through each of the little pieces that were joining in between the holes that I punched. And I then went digging into my jewellery making stuff and found one of my old needle nose slips and went all the way around. That left me with quite a jagged edge, as you can see from this. I mean, that's quite jagged. So I then went all the way around it with my Dremel, and that, because it just worked. It's now quite smooth. I'd have no hesitation running my fingers inside it. Perfect. Now I'm going to cover the next bit because I've noticed that most people wouldn't know how to wire a plug if their life depended on it. So again, light fitting. Take back off the light fitting, and that's the inside of it. I have no idea what that is. It's obviously something new, and it doesn't actually matter with something like this whether you put the blue or the brown wire into either socket on either the plug or this. Light fittings and lights are not reliant on the neutral being on one side and the light being on another. You just do it. So open up our wire, and struggle to get the wire out. And you just Now, this is like 7 meters, I think, or 3 meters or something ridiculous. It's 5 5 meters, so it's 15 feet. So if we cut this evenly in two, we'll have 8-foot lengths, which is pretty okay. I have a very small house, so I'm not going to need more than that. And split it like that. And once you have a decent split in it, you'll be able to keep going down just by hand. But you need a little something to grab hold of, as the bishop said to the actress. So bring it down. Then just tidy it up a little bit. And this is kind of fiddly when you've got fingers as big as mine. Very unfeminine hands, I have to say. Not least because they're covered in scars. But so you have it to that point. This goes on first. This is the bottom of this again, so it's going to go on like that to hold. It's going to go on like wire through into this screw shut. Very simple, very easy. Now there are a lot of ways to get the plastic coating off of the wire. And probably the best way is actually to use a knife. Just be very careful with your fingers, because while it's probably the best and simplest way, it can be painful when you accidentally slit your fingers wide open. Another way, of course, is to just bite it off. Bite in slightly and pull, but you'd want to have good teeth. So open these. Remember, it's lefty loosey, righty tighty, so you just go both of them, and ooh, we left ourselves a little bit short. If you are a little bit short, just continue to slice down, put the wire through like that. You can let it drop because it's not going to go anywhere. Wire goes into the pincher, and then we just tighten it up. And you do that for both. For both wires. It's not difficult, it just takes a few seconds, and that's the end of that then. It's just fiddly more than anything else. Very, very fiddly sometimes. So that goes through, loose tighten by hand. Now if you have a little bit poking out, it doesn't actually matter, because you're going to have a plastic sleeve over it anyway, and if you're stupid enough to try and modify it with the sleeve, you know, with it plugged in, you deserve what's coming. So that's that end done. Then you repeat exactly the same for the bottom end, and that's the end that's going to go into our three pin plug. Again, split it. And this time I'm just biting off the plastic casing, because I'm lazy and, you know, because I like doing things the painful way. Again, plug off, open up, really you should be able to do this if you ever did science in high school, certainly in Ireland, screwdriver is a little bit on the big side. And yeah, if you've ever done science, especially physics in high school in Ireland, they believe it or not, they teach you how to wire a plug as part of, I think, junior cert, which is our kind of middle school examination. Or because this is the internet, to put it in Harry Potter terms, it's the equivalent, I think, of the newts. Owls are the ones that you do before you go on. So, typically, a really good rule of thumb is blue left, brown right. BL, L left, BR, R right. As I said, in this situation, it's not 100% necessary. So, again, it's just a fiddly arse job to do. I bloody hate doing these. In no small part because I spent most of my bloody teenage years doing it for my mum. Wiring this, that and the other. Which is part of the reason why no two light switches in our house. Well, we have in the kitchen of my mum's house there's a light switch, unsurprisingly, and it has 3 outputs. It has 3 switches, and none of the switches actually line up. And one of them up is on and down is on, and another one, and the end result is it can be quite confusing going around my mum's house at night, but it's my own fault because I didn't really pay attention to what I was doing. Pretty sure because I was trying to finish Tenku Stealth Assassins at the time, and I really, really, really didn't like being interrupted. But blue left, brown right. Eventually, because of course this is a freaking nightmare and fiddly as hell, and I hate fiddly jobs. Aha, we're in. And we are done. So all you do is the usual, close that sucker up, and before you go fitting this to the actual light shroud, I would really, really suggest testing that sucker, because you never be entirely certain. Now, don't do this. This is very silly what I'm about to do, so don't do it. And we have light. Awesome. Plug it out, take out the light fitting, and we're in the home stretch of this part. Now, I am going to have another part of making this because I still have to make a framework for it, which is going to be pretty much woodwork. And oh, come on. God, it's so hot here. So, you can see why we wanted this side, because you can see now why we wanted this side out, because that's where our switch is. And this and the great thing about this is that holds it really, really tight. And we put in our light, and there we go, one light fitting. Now, at some stage next week I will be putting up a second video where I show how I'm going to make the framework for holding this up and directing it. But for the time being, we're pretty much done. And I'll just show you how well this works by momentarily closing the blinds. Ooh, sorry, Winter. Now, how well does this work? Well, this is my living room with no light whatsoever. Now, admittedly, it does have quite a sharp center light, but I can fix that with some a diffusing screen. I will have to modify it slightly because you can see the bulb comes out, so I may have to use flatter bulbs to be able to put more into it. But all in all, I'm not too unhappy with that, and we will see what we will see in the future. But ooh, I have no idea if that. I actually don't know if this is going to actually look at me. But just in the off chance that it doesn't, yes, that was basically making this. It's quick, dirty lighting solution. I will get smaller bulbs and flatter headed bulbs to fit in, so I can use a diffusing screen to kind of flatten the light out more. Next week I will at some point go through the construction of a wooden support frame that will not only support it but make it possible for me to direct the light wherever I want it to go. And for now, that's it. I will talk to you again on Friday or Saturday, probably Saturday. Friday is looking like a busy day for me. And yeah, I'm going to go have a shower because it is so hot here and it's so sticky, and I kind of feel like you could put me up against a wall and I'd just stick there or fall down like one of those rubber guys that you know. Anyway, have a lovely day, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye!